Yves Potvin is a Canadian entrepreneur known mostly for being the founder and CEO of Gardein Protein International and its Gardein line of meat-free foods. He has a net worth of $850 million, and he's done it all without a college degree. Now, 10 things you may not know about Yves Potvin. Number 10. A competitive, creative, compassionate kid. Yves grew up in Canada near Quebec with 4 siblings. He always had an appetite for trying new things. As a youth, he would develop a sense of teamwork and competition by being involved in many sports, including baseball, tennis, and hockey. He also has a creative side and developed hobbies such as sculpting, stained glass, and photography. To add further balance to his youth experiences, his family owned a horse that he would tend to, as well as being involved in the local church, spending time as an altar boy. Number 9. The pride of making money. As a teen, Yves learned to set financial goals to achieve the things he wanted, like the time he worked cleaning floors at a store to save up enough money to buy himself a bike. He has stated, "There's a certain pride and satisfaction in making your own money and having your independence." He developed a strong work ethic early in life and worked miscellaneous jobs such as delivering newspapers. Yves watched his father manage a paint shop for snowmobiles, and at times his father felt like he wanted to push for more but couldn't take the risk with a family to support. A young Yves Potvin would see this, and it would create a yearning to build financial freedom for himself. Number 8. Almost architect to restaurant entrepreneur. Potvin began studying architectural design, which seemed to be a great fit for him, as this direction would allow him to have an outlet for his creativity as well as a career with a good salary. But after only a year, he realized he likely wouldn't enjoy being stuck behind a desk drafting plans working for a firm. Around this time, he was being told by dinner guests that he should cook professionally, which nudged him in the direction of culinary school. Yves would spend 3 years in culinary school, and a few years later, at age 25, he helped open a French Nouvelle restaurant, only to sell his share to his partner 2 years later after a clashing of vision for the business. Number 7. A 3,400-mile bike ride. With his restaurant business behind him, Yves yearned for the next chapter in his life. Though he didn't have an exact plan, he did decide it would take place in Vancouver and was set on the idea of traveling the 3,400 miles to get there by bicycle. He bought a bike and trained for 6 weeks preparing for his journey. He set out in the early summer and would spend a few months pedaling from Montreal to the Pacific Ocean before finally arriving in Vancouver. He has stated, quote, "The number one quality of successful people in business is perseverance, and Yves sure is a man that perseveres." Number 6. A healthier hot dog. During his biking journey to Vancouver, he found it very difficult to find markets selling convenient health foods. So once he settled into his Vancouver destination, Yves reflected on the lack of health foods available across the country. He began studying various options, eventually zeroing in on Asian cuisine's use of soy. As a child, Yves had a fondness for hot dogs, but stopped eating them because of their questionable meat sourcing. So he decided to create a healthier version of a hot dog using plant protein. After months of experimenting, he finally had a product that was good enough to go to market. After achieving a marketable plant-based hot dog, he started the company Yves Fine Foods. And to start the company, he used $5,000 of his own money, borrowed $10,000 from family members, and an additional $25,000 in business loans. The funds would allow him to buy old, used sausage-making equipment and secure a 500 square foot facility. He would now produce what he calls the world's first veggie dog. Number 5. Fine Food to Gardein Protein. In the first year of business, Yves Fine Food made $235,000 in sales.
Originally, people said there's no market for that, but very quickly we saw, I think the first year I did $250,000 in sales. So
the second year, more than doubled it, making $600,000 in sales. With sales on the steady rise, Yves would attempt to level up his old vintage sausage making equipment, but instead would learn a hard lesson when he was conned by a man offering machinery that didn't exist. That hiccup didn't slow him down. By year 4, the company was making $1 million in sales and would find a new home in a 5,000 square foot facility. Potvin sold the Yves Fine Food Company in 2001, now called Yves Veggie Cuisine. After, he would continue working with a research and development team to make improvements in the vegetarian food space. He and his team developed a proprietary process creating a meaty texture plant-based food that would be the base for several meat substitute entrees. With this direction, Yves would launch the Gardein Protein International Company in 2003.
Gardein Protein International is a food manufacturer based in Richmond, and we manufacture a line of vegetable-based entrees.
Want to hear more about entrepreneurs that have succeeded without a college degree? Subscribe to our channel, where our goal is to educate, encourage, and entertain zero-degree entrepreneurs just like you. Now back to the countdown. Number 4. Growth of Gardein to its pinnacle. Within 4 years of the company's launch, Gardein Protein International had grown to 85 employees and $50 million in annual sales. In 2014, it had grown to nearly $100 million in sales. Then, in November of 2014, Pinnacle Foods purchased Gardein for $154 million, making Yves Potvin extremely wealthy in the process. Yves would carry on as CEO of the company and continue to add just the right amounts of sunshine and nurturing to help this Gardein grow. Number 3. From running businesses to troubles walking. After building 2 major businesses over the span of 3 decades, Yves decided to take a much-deserved vacation, this being the first real break from being a businessman.
Spending some time, quality time with the family.
During his flight from Vancouver to Europe, he developed debilitating sciatica. He was unable to walk without assistance for the next few months. Yves was forced to slow down and reflect on what matters most, even stating it was an awakening that your health is the most important thing. Number 2. Mixing things up with a culinary school. It's not every day that a chef decides to buy a well-known culinary school, but that's exactly what happened in Vancouver in 2018 when Yves became owner, majority shareholder, and president of the Pacific Institute of Culinary Arts. The institute has educated more than 3,000 culinary professionals since opening in 1997. Though the chef made his name in the meat-free retail space, Potvin spent time beefing up the curriculum by adding nutrition-focused content, more emphasis on sustainability practices, as well as bringing in new culinary technology into the school. 9 down, 1 to go. Which were the most surprising to you? Were there any interesting things that we missed? Comment down below. Number 1. At his own dinner table. Yves considers himself a flexitarian. The flexitarian diet is a play on 2 words, flexible and vegetarian, and can be generally defined as a semi-vegetarian, plant-forward diet that incorporates dairy and eggs and allows room for meat from time to time. His household has been a mixed bag of dietary requests, as his daughter would eat vegetarian, but his son would eat a more carnivore diet. He says the only foods his entire family actually agrees on and consumes together is Gardein. This has been 10 things you may not know about Yves Potvin. If you would like to suggest a zero-degree entrepreneur for a future episode, or you yourself are a zero-degree entrepreneur and you would like to share your story, please go to zerodegreeentrepreneur.com.